what up fam, welcome back to Codex Reacts, and today we're gonna put their lies on blast. Yeah, that's true. We're not gonna stay on the sidelines, watch all that stuff happening without saying a word. When I see bullshit, I'm gonna call them out on their bullshit. And you know what? I wanna say one thing before we start. I wanna make sure you guys take action today. So hey, it's cool, you guys are watching my videos. Hey, I really appreciate it. But we need to do more. Leave a comment, share the video. We want to make sure this video reach a lot of people. I made this channel for one thing, to make sure people just start waking up. And now, let's get into it.
Vanessa, are you okay?
Actress Vanessa Marquez played nurse Wendy Goldman alongside George Clooney on the hit TV show ER.
Didn't take it for us. No.
Okay. We're just making sure you're okay.
Police were called to her cluttered Los Angeles home in 2018 after the landlord requested a welfare check. Marquez reportedly suffered from mental illness.
You are not under criminal arrest, but I am taking you to an examination by a mental health professional.
Moments later, things go horribly wrong.
Gun.
Chaos erupts as the actress pulls out a gun.
Drop the gun! Drop the gun!
Marquez repeatedly ignores the officer's demands.
Drop the gun! Kill me! I'm not gonna kill you! Drop the gun!
As police scramble to safety,
Come on, go.
gunfire erupts.
Drop it! Pull back, dude, pull back!
According to the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office, the two officers who shot and killed Marquez acted in self-defense.
Have you heard about demons, demonic possession? It's coming for us soon too.
If you really have faith, you don't need belief. Because faith is an entirely different attitude from belief. Faith is a state of openness or trust. To have faith is, for example, like when you swim, you trust yourself to the water. You don't grab hold of the water when you swim. And if you go stiff and tight in the water and try to catch hold of it, you'll sink. You have to relax. So in the same way, when a cat falls off a tree, the cat doesn't go stiff all over in a state of tension, that is to say, a state of holding on. The cat relaxes. It falls heavily, thumps the ground with its tail, and isn't hurt because it relaxed. So the attitude of faith is the very opposite of clinging, of holding on. So that you could say that a person who is a fanatic in religion, who simply has to believe in certain propositions about the nature of God and the nature of the universe, is a person who has no faith at all, because he's holding on tight.
Alan Watts was a great man. Believing in yourself is so much different than having faith in yourself. Know why? How do you know? You just know it. And that's a huge difference to create your own reality.
There's this story, it was from, I believe, the 1700s, a ship that was carrying a bunch of cargo that they were bringing across the Atlantic, and they encountered this giant storm, and they started taking on water, and there's another ship, like, off in the distance, and so the one ship that was sinking, they raised the flag, basically saying, like, SOS. The other boat raised their flags, like, the seas are too rough to send the lifeboat, and then the captain thought about it for a second, and they had a barrel of fish oil, and what he did was he dumped the barrel of fish oil overboard, and it calmed the ocean around him. And so this one guy that I saw did an experiment where he was at a lake and it was very windy that day, and there was just like wave ripples and stuff.
Yeah.
He took a tablespoon of fish oil and just put it in the water, and for 50 plus yards you could see the waves just stop around this one area. So the oil basically keeps water from waves forming because of the water tension. 1 tablespoon went out like 50 yards.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's weird. Apparently it was an old sailor trick to do.
Wow.
Watch your knowledge.
The captain was smart.
How you feel about the situation that Diddy in?
Let's say this. Something else is going on. They didn't raid, they searched with a warrant his premises on the West Coast, right? They searched his premises on the East Coast in Florida, right? On the same property that the premises was located that they searched in Florida, he had a second mansion. They didn't touch that one. Why not? And when they walk out of there, they got a small trash bag and they have a medium-sized cardboard box. What was it they seized that would fit into those items? That what they seized was some evidence that was very incriminating to other people.
What they're showing you is so much different from reality. Remember Epstein with the island? He was collecting dirt all over the place for all these years just for his safety. So, guess what? And they came for that dirt and that dirt only.
No, I don't like you people to use chemicals. We use natural food.
Yeah.
Which heals. Can I tell you?
Yeah.
This is produced by chemicals.
It is. It's very true.
You are putting chemicals in your body. When you say it, you don't care what will happen. You are saying, I'm wearing a good shirt.
Yeah.
Without, that's a problem. That you are practicing witchcraft on your body yourself with your mind. So
You never thought about it.
I'm Fisi, but they tell me it's breathable and it's got air-wicking pockets and it's sweat-proof.
What about this?
I mean, that's just gazelle, right? That's just one gazelle skin.
What do you call your computer? What do you call that right there?
Laptop.
You know where the name came from? Steve Jobs used to put the original computer on his lap, and they called the laptop. You know what kind of cancer he had? Retroperitoneal cancer. What did you always see in his Levi's in the back? Pocket wore out, because that's where he put what? iPhone. He writes a book. You know what it said in the book? You need to go read it. It said, I don't want my kids to use my technology. Do you know why?
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Steve Jobs knew that his technology was a problem. Do you know how I can tell you guys that it's a problem? iPad 2 came out. Do you know that iPad 2 had an infrared detector in it so that when the detector touched the kid, it would turn off the RF and microwaves?
Wow.
Do you want to know why it's important for you to know? Apple never marketed it. Do you know why? If they would have marketed it, they would have told you, you would have asked the question, is this good or bad for me?
After Mars, you have another little planet that survived called Ceres, C-E-R-E-S, which is also a result of this Tiamat exploding. People don't even talk about Ceres. It has the most fresh water of any other planet in our solar system. More
and
fresh water.
Where's its location?
That's the next planet after Mars, Ceres.
Really?
C-E-R-E-S.
How big is it?
It's about maybe 2/3 smaller than Mars. And guess
it's a
what?
dwarf planet. It follows an orbit between Mars and Jupiter near the middle of the asteroid belt with an orbital period. Click on that, Jamie.
When they flew by it, about...
You heard about this before? I didn't know there was another planet out there.
Listen, when they flew by it a few years ago, the lights were on. They sent a probe out there.
What?
The lights were on. And so they tried to say it was ice particles glistening in the sunlight. So when they got to the dark side, guess what? The lights were on the dark side. So they couldn't use the ice particle explanation anymore. So they just said, we don't know what it is.
What?
Are we alone on this planet? A bigger question, are we alone in this whole universe? We got to stop fooling ourselves. Just us. Come on now.
Total witches have to be witches now in order to produce music. Thank you. The master is a tape about as big as the top of this podium that looks like an overgrown 8-track that the album is cut on and is placed in a machine that produces and presses the records and the 8-tracks and cassettes that you buy. After it's been recorded, it's taken in. This is why a master is cut months in advance before it's released. On the full moon, it's taken in to a temple room about the size of this auditorium that is in every one of the major music companies, behind locked doors up in the executive offices. And it's placed on an altar sitting in the north of the room and a pentagram engraved in the floor. And 13 hand-chosen witches and wizards and a coven come in and conjure a principality or a power up, usually Regia, or something like that, and order him to tell the demons under him to follow every record and every tape coming off of that master.
Chants and songs are rituals. And you know what? Music is part of everyday life. You go to the gym, music. In a car, radio, or your favorite song. It's like we under a spell 24/7. But for what?
Meet the Guinness World Record holder hailed as the world's fastest swordsman, whose skill transcends mere martial arts. With the ability to turn ordinary pens into concealed weapons, his talent has even caught the attention of law enforcement. He practices the ancient art of Mo Ying Xiang Luo, where the sword achieves divine significance. His
He must have
technique is so
trained
refined
like
that he can slice an
crazy.
apple in half in the blink of an eye, demonstrating not only incredible speed but unparalleled precision. Remarkably, he also masters the art of seamlessly resheathing his sword after each lightning-fast slash. Beyond his swordsmanship, his agility and vision stand out. Capable of deflecting arrows with a single stroke and executing complex maneuvers with ease, he embodies the true essence of martial mastery. This swordsman is not just a fighter, he is a testament to the heights of human skill and discipline, mesmerizing audiences with each flawless movement and precise action.
Do you think Dick Cheney was talking to the aliens, or do you think he just wanted to make a ton of fucking money?
I think George Bush Sr. was. Junior was a moron. We know that.
Yes.
Junior.
But Dick Cheney, the guy behind the Iraq War,
remember,
who owned...
listen, Dick Cheney worked with George Bush Sr. George Bush Sr. put Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld around Junior. All right? Sr. told Cheney and Rumsfeld, take care of Junior. We have to do certain things. And, you know how Junior is. I need you guys with him. Reagan did not want George Bush as his vice president. He thought he was a total creep, coming from out of the CIA. He'd been former director of the CIA. And he's a 33rd degree Freemason. George Bush Sr. was 33rd degree Mason. And his grandfather was Hitler's financier in America, Prescott Bush. So Bush Sr., yes. Bush Sr., I think, is someone who literally has at some point sat down with these 7-foot-tall Nordic people and had policy planning conversations with them. I wouldn't be surprised at all. When David Grush came out and talked about all these reverse engineering efforts that are underway, right? Mm-hmm. One of the most interesting things that he said was that not all of these craft were retrieved from crash sites. Some of them were what they now call donations. Mm-hmm. Okay? Meaning there were cases where we have been handed intact craft. There is no way in hell that a civilization that advanced would volunteer this kind of technology to any stratum of the U.S. government without an extremely detailed agreement having been reached. And that would have to have been negotiated by both sides. And this is one of the most dangerous assumptions that people make, that we're dealing with some kind of ethereal beings that have such a vast cosmic horizon of understanding. It's much more like when colonial elites encountered savage or primitive populations, like when the British Empire or the Portuguese were out conquering very undeveloped societies, mm-hmm. right? The people who are flying around in these anti-gravity craft are not any more ethical than British colonialists or Nazi Germans in North Africa. They have more advanced technology. That doesn't necessarily mean they have any more of a sense of beneficence or humanistic ethics than any of the colonial elites in our own history have.
So you have all the power, all the technology. So why would you care for the little savages we are? You won't. If you connect the dots, it will make sense. Someone doesn't like Cheetos, but grab a bag of Cheetos, look at the ingredients in the bag, and heat me up.
Listen to this. I have to tell you this. Okay. So after I left the party, and the next day I smoked with Michael, and then I get in the limousine and I leave. I get back to the Sheraton Hotel at Universal over here. There's 4 FBI agents waiting for me in the hotel room. And my mom's there and she's like, tell them what happened. And I'm like, what do you mean tell them what happened? And I sit down with them and they all ask these super sexually exploited, questions, backsided questions. And I knew that at my age already. And I looked at all 4 of them and I said, are y'all crazy? I said, what you think I'm gonna do? Tell you that Michael did something bad so that we can sue him for money? That's what I told him. I was like, you're crazy. And I looked over at my mom and I was like, are you serious, Mom? I was like, what is going on here? Why are you letting this happen? And she goes, well, I think something happened, I think something. I'm like, really? That man did nothing but be hospitable, kind, loving, giving, everything you could think of. We rode 4-wheelers for 5 hours, me, him, and Chris Tucker in the mountains at nighttime after his birthday party. Him and I hung out and talked pretty much all night. Got a couple hours of sleep. I wake up, he's not even in the room. He pulled out a cot for me in his room because I asked him, I was like, I want to hang out with you. I want to be around. It was Michael. Yeah. I want to hang out with him. I wanted to hang out with Michael. He pulled out a little cot or something. I laid on the cot. I wake up in the morning. His bed's made. There's a Queenie lady that wakes me up. I keep asking, where's Michael? I go over. He's got this huge statue figurine that Michael Jordan sent him for his birthday because he collected that stuff. Went and smoked some with him, get in the car, and then all this shit happened when I got back to LA, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I was like, and I looked at my mom. I go, are you really trying to go at Michael and use me for a money grab? I was like, nothing. And I looked at him right now. I said, nothing happened. I said, Michael was flirting with girls right in front of me. Actually.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious because he was very charming.
I bet. It's Michael Jackson.
he made girls just light up, blush, and and I saw him looking at girls' booty. I said, I saw you looking at her booty. He was like, I was like, and so I hear these stories of like Wade Robson, and then I'm like thinking to myself, wait, hold up. I know Wade Robson. Wade Robson pretended to be the voice on my album, Aaron's Party, for my brother. Because my brother didn't do it, so Wade Robson did it. It was like a little spoof thing, an interlude in my second album, Aaron's Party. And Wade Robson did the voice of like pretending to be my brother or some shit. And I'm like, wait, hold up. Wade leaving Neverland? What is this? Like, what do you mean leaving Neverland? Like, I left Neverland. Everything was cool, homie. Like, what's your problem? Did you dream this up? Did your parents tell you to do this?
Yeah, I mean, they try to sue for like $100 million, and ultimately it was dropped. They got nothing out of it, as they should.
Nothing. That dude didn't do shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, I knew Michael better than all of them.
Yeah, I believe
even
everything
Macaulay,
that I've seen.
if it was Macaulay now,
I'm not buying it.
Even if it was Macaulay Culkin sitting right here, he would tell you the same thing I did with the same assertiveness.
Big shout out to my boy, rest in peace, Aaron Carter. He stood freaking strong. Even his mom tried to do him dirty, but he didn't flinch. And sometimes, you know what? Hey, money doesn't buy everything. Integrity, truth. We got to stay strong, brothers and sisters, because, hey, they're going to try to come after us.
I went through the dangers of evolution on video 5. They arrested me and got every DV number 5 they could find, because that's the one they wanted to shut me up over. They took me to, I said, what am I being arrested for? They said, for structuring. I said, I don't know, what is that? So we did a program on that back last December 14th. You can see it on my channel, Genesis Baptist Church on YouTube, or Kent Hovind Official on Odyssey or Rumble, whatever channel you like to watch. I think the link is on your screen there or someplace. I did a whole show on what happened with the arrest and the charges. The U.S. attorney that was assigned to take me down because of video number 5 had nothing to do with IRS or taxes, you know. And so they arrested me, and I went to trial. And my attorney said, Kent, don't even give a defense. There's no crime here. They know that. The judge sees that. There is no crime. You did nothing wrong. I said, I know. So then the jury was a hung jury. So they called a new jury, had another hung jury. The third time they called a jury in, the judge told them, find him guilty. So they did. And she said, dismiss the jury. She said, now, Mr. Hovind, structuring calls for 0 to 6 months. And you've never been in any problem with the court, but your crime is worse than I'm going to enhance this to 10 years. Structuring is where you take your money out of the bank in cash to pay your bills, and you do it in amounts less than $10,000. Have you ever taken out less than $10,000 out of your bank?
Of course.
That's what I went to jail for.
Less, so not more, less.
Not less than. Yeah, the U.S. attorney, after they put me in jail, he flew to Detroit. They arrested him and put him in jail. And that was U.S. Attorney John David Roy Atchison in Pensacola. Google it. He's the one put me in jail for 9 years for taking our own money out of our own bank to pay our own bills. There was never any crime. One guy did a whole program on a whole series of videos just on my case. He studied it intently. He called it KentHovind.net. He said, Kent, the government broke 100 laws to put you in prison. They wanted you in prison. I said, apparently so. While I was there, I wrote 37 books, earned 2 more doctor's degrees, led 800 men to the Lord, held Bible study 4 times a day. And I answered 8,000 letters. I got mail from all over the place. I don't want to go again, but I said, half the Bible's written from prison. I guess, Lord, I'll just use it for your glory. So that's what I tried to do.
The perfect example when you did nothing wrong, but everything goes wrong. But that means you're just getting closer to the truth.
Family and the history of the Smithsonian Institute is something that we could never talk too much about. There's just incredible underground storage vaults in the Smithsonian Institute where they it's like I call it informational Area 51. Cavern system was uncovered in the bottom of the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon was actually not a small river carving it through millions of years. The fact is, with the Uinta Basin, all the inland ocean that was all part of that, something cataclysmic happened, fracturing of the rock around the time of 30 AD that caused a massive amount of water to go out over a short period of time and carve the Grand Canyon out. There's plenty of evidence of that. Major Powell did his first expedition down the Grand Canyon. Everybody thought he was crazy as a loon. You know, there's this one-armed major was lost his arm in the Civil War, coming down in the 1870s. They mapped this great river. They thought he would never make it out. If you look at the Powell Museum there in Page, Arizona, there's little boats and they go over the cataracts and the massive amount of water. It was an amazing feat. He survived, as we know. He had a Native American Navajo guide that basically took him down, not expecting to even know if he'd survived the trip. Powell wrote everything in his report to Congress, and he explains what he found looking up at this cave, which was quite a ways up from where the river was flowing in 1870s. And as the explanation went, he went up into it, was able to rock climb up to there's like a keyhole opening that was not natural. It was absolutely carved. And he went in and was shocked with what they found. Egyptian artifacts galore inside. So he didn't have time, of course, to do a full-scale excavation, but in his report to Congress, he made mention of it. Well, that, of course, garnered the attention of the Smithson family, and the Smithsonian Institute sponsored a second trip through, this time loaded with photography equipment to document what was in there. And so the Smithsonian Institute went in there and, my goodness, took all kinds of pictures. And instead of going on down the river, they actually hiked up to the top of the rim and went overland from there to map that out. Okay, that's part of the unknown history of the early expeditions of the Grand Canyon. A guy named G.E. Kincaid, who is an employee of the Smithsonian Institute, he's survives the Great War, comes in, and he's funded by Smithsonian to go back in cavern system. So Kincaid does that, goes in under the disguise of mineral exploration, prospecting, okay, and he locates the exact same Powell cave, goes in with his photography equipment, and brings out a massive amount of precious metal artifacts. Comes up over the top. He's so excited about what he's found, he makes a press front page headlines. Amazing find in the Grand Canyon. News articles on my blog, which was all from, again, the Smithsonian Institute. Well, my blog was shut down and erased, actually, in December of 2019. A lot of people, oh, wow, this is fantastic information, Doc. I just post them. So the question that people ask me is, where'd you get these pictures? Well, I had he's now deceased, so I can talk about him now. A friend named Dr. Melvin Laney in Washington, D.C. had high-level security clearance, and he had full unfettered access to the Smithsonian's archives. He sent me this information tied into what I'm working in the property here in Utah. Another story for another time. But it tied in, most definitely ties in, this story of G.E. Kincaid and the amazing discoveries at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. PowerPoint presentation to people who want to come and see this. I think it's interesting.
Smithsonian says now it never did happen, but you got into the actual archives. You got actual documentation.
It's an amazing, jaw-dropping story. Let me just give you some hints of what we're going to be showing. Massive amounts of mummies. And the big thing is, Terry, is there were thousands and thousands of panels of Egyptian hieroglyphics that have been interpreted. And what it tells the story of should rewrite all the world's history, frankly. Because it's none other than the biblical Joseph of Egypt and his history. It answers the question, really, it was more than just a deal with Potiphar's wife that elevated Joseph to be the most powerful vizier, and second only to the Pharaoh himself. It tells the story of how he ascended and why he was able to bring all the grains and survive the famines that went on. It's all in the history of this cave in the bottom of the Grand Canyon. It's an amazing story.
Why are they trying to erase history? Because they want to keep control. They want to keep you in the dark. They have big plans for us, but they don't want you to know. But guess what? Here on Codex Reacts, we're going to keep bringing those questions up. We're going to keep exposing them. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit and smash the like button. Smash that subscribe button for me. Remember, stay woke, and I'll catch you next time.